start.
Watch what I do next.
The guys came out here and just played extremely hard, competed, and put on a good show for the opening night.
I ain't forgot how hard it was to get to the spot. I'ma get to the top. Wow.
The Clippers just running the Lakers off the floor.
Whoa, he put it down hard. George, he's getting hot now.
Work it, PG.
That's how I play. That's how I catch fire. I let the game come to me.
All right, NBA season underway. The Clippers and the Nets both making big statements last night. So what do you say we talk a little pressure cooker this season? And who better to help us join in on that debate? We got the man, Kendrick Perkins, in the house. All right, guys, let's talk Western Conference first. Which player is under the most pressure, Stephen A?
To me, it's Kawhi Leonard. In the West, I put Kawhi Leonard right up in there. You know, listen. You can get away with being quiet all you want, and that's fine. Last year, he did a lot, man. He did a lot to put everybody on notice that he had arrived to take what belonged to King James. And guess what? It didn't happen. And it didn't happen in a lot of people's eyes, primarily because of him, not just his performance in Game 7, along with that of Paul George, but because of him being the face of the franchise, because of the expectations that were placed on him, because of the city that he lives in, the second largest market in the United States of America. The list goes on and on and on. We can look at a lot of players, but the name that comes to me is Kawhi Leonard, because the first time in his career that he had pressure applied to him. Wasn't that pressure in San Antonio? Wasn't necessarily there in Toronto. He wanted out of San Antonio. They didn't move him to where he wanted to go, which was LA. So they sent him to another country, which is Toronto, and what have you. He didn't have that same amount of pressure because he was only going to be there for 1 year, and that was that. Last year was when the pressure was on. He did not answer the call in a Game 7, the same Game 7 that Jamal Murray dropped 40. Then you hearing about load management. They got an investigation going on right now with Jerry West and the Clippers in terms of the recruitment of Kawhi Leonard. The league is investigating. I spoke to Commissioner Adam Silver about that earlier this week. All of this stuff is going on. Kawhi Leonard is in the eye of the storm. Now, for the first time in his career, he's got the kind of pressure applied to him. Certainly not as much as LeBron James, because nobody has that kind of pressure, but relatively similar. We gonna see whether or not he answers the call. Plain and simple.
Well, you just said it. The answer is clearly LeBron James. By far the most pressure in the Western Conference. If he was on a team that's not a clear-cut favorite, that's one thing. That's fine. He just won a championship. Here's the bottom line. He's with another top 5 player. If LeBron James got another top 5 player, they just won the title, they're favored, he has to win it again. Let me make this clear for Perk, who's shaking his head. This is a rhetorical question. You have a chance to answer it in a second.
I can shake my head if
when
I want
Kobe
to,
and
Max.
Shaq were playing together, when Kobe and Shaq were playing together, you're going to tell me just because they won a chip, the first chip, that there was more pressure on Chris Webber and them to win again? Nah, man. There was more pressure on Kobe and Shaq because they're the two best or two of the 3 best players in the world on the same team, and they were expected to win. The man, when he has a crew, is expected to win and always has the most pressure. You mean to tell me just because the Bulls repeated that it wasn't? Now, Michael Jordan has another top 5 player on the team with Scottie Pippen. They won a championship, but because of that, there's really more pressure on Charles Barkley because he never won than Michael Jordan when he screwed up. Never that. There was always more pressure on Jordan when he was playing with Pippen, on Shaq or Kobe when they were playing together than anyone else in the conference. And there is more pressure on LeBron James playing with AD and coming off a chip than there is anybody else.
Well, Max, I have to respectfully disagree with that. Stephen, you brought up a great point about Kawhi Leonard. It is a lot of pressure. He is one of the most guys that's under pressure in the Western Conference. But I got to go with Damian Lillard. Damian Lillard has took the jump as as being an elite superstar now. We all know that Damian Lillard, in my opinion, is the best point guard in the league. And Stephen A., I know you go disagree and go with Steph Curry, and that's okay. But Damian Lillard is the best PG in the league today. And right now, when you look at this Portland Trailblazer team and what they did in the offseason and guys coming back healthy, they have one of the best rosters in the NBA. So with that being said, it's time for Dame Dollar to lead them to new heights and make them a contender, get them to the finals. The pressure is on Dame Dollar. We know what he's capable of doing, but now he has every piece that he needs to contend for a title, and I believe that the pressure is on him in the Western Conference.
Well, the reason I disagree with you respectfully is not to say that Dame Dollar doesn't have pressure on him, because he is a superstar in this league. I got him number 2 behind Curry because I think that Curry's not just a sniper-like abilities, but also the fact that he moves so much without the basketball for the most part. I think that makes him a very formidable threat from that point guard spot. Having said all of that, what I would say to you why I think that my choice of Kawhi Leonard eclipses Dame Dollar is because of all the ancillary things that I brought into the fold in terms of the investigation, in terms of the recruitment of Kawhi Leonard, in terms of Paul George and how the Clippers were asked to mortgage their future in order to get this guy, because it wasn't enough for you to go. You had to make sure you had this guy, Paul George, with him. The fact that Jamal Murray dropped 40 on you in a Game 7 when you were a no-show, particularly in that second half, after being up 3-1 and you blow a 3-1 lead in the Western Conference Finals. If it were not for the immediate backdrop of all of those things that transpired in the bubble and all of the stories that oozed out of the Clippers organization since they faltered against the Denver Nuggets in the Western Conference Finals, you would have a profound argument about Dame Lillard, KP. But the fact of the matter is, Damian Lillard just has to continue to do what he's been doing, balling, and hope that that drives them or propels them to the finals. In the case of Kawhi Leonard, all of these storylines that come with it, and the way you had New Balance had you basically sticking out your chest and saying a new day has arrived in L.A., we coming to take this town from King James. I just think that when you look at it from all of those different perspectives, it clearly is Kawhi Leonard who is on the hot seat in terms of being under that microscope, even more so than Damian Lillard.
Okay, all three of you have
LeBron James, by the way, no pressure. LeBron's a 4-time champion. 4-time champion. He's a reigning champion right now. That's not. We ain't worried about LeBron James.
Lillard and Kawhi ain't playing with another MVP caliber player. They're just not.
All right, but all three of you disagree on that one. Let's talk about the East. Who's under the most pressure in the East? Max, we'll start with you.
For the same reasons LeBron James is under the most pressure, the answer is KD in the East. Don't tell me about KD winning championships with a 73-win Warrior team. You just dropped KD in. Didn't you have to really trade for him or anything? Just dropped him into a 73-win team that had taken King James with Kyrie and Kevin Love to a Game 7 in the fourth quarter, a couple possessions at the end of the game. You add an MVP caliber player. Now you want to give them credit for winning because he was the finals MVP. You know how much the defense had to concentrate on Steph and Clay and everybody? And of course, Kevin Durant should be the MVP of that series. And yeah, he won championships. But did that prove the same thing that a championship's supposed to prove, that you could lead a team there that's not guaranteed to win? No, KD made a bold choice to go to Brooklyn. Yeah, he's got a crew with him. Everyone needs a crew to win championships. But KD is under the pressure because just like LeBron, he's playing with another bona fide superstar. Giannis ain't playing with a dude like Kyrie. He's just not. No one else in the East is an MVP playing with another real star like KD. And therefore, when you're the man and you got a crew, the pressure's on you.
Go ahead, Perk.
I'm lost for words because, Max, I don't get it. 1 minute you're saying that it's not that much pressure on Kevin Durant and the Brooklyn Nets because require him to do that much this season. You don't even expect them to make it to the finals. You saying that you were saying earlier in the week that you were giving them a pass. Well, I believe it was last week that you were giving them a pass this season, that they just have to make it to the conference finals. Now you come on here and say that Kevin Durant is under the most pressure? No, It's Giannis. Giannis is under the most pressure. Back-to-back MVP last season, the Defensive Player of the Year and the MVP. The last two players to do that was Jordan and the King. And you mean to tell me that the furthest you could get was to the second round? You couldn't get past the Miami Heat? Now they give you another All-Star in Drew Holiday. You have zero excuses. The pressure is on Giannis to deliver, to step up in the big moments, not just having these phony stats of 25 and 12, but actually the eye test of closing out games and closing out series and taking the Milwaukee Bucks to new heights. You're the MVP. The pressure is on Giannis.
30 and 13, but okay.
Oh, man, whatever.
Kendrick Perkins, that's a great argument. And I don't really disagree with you. It's just that the name that comes to my mind is Kyrie Irving. And the reason why I say Kyrie Irving is that, look, this brother's a showstopper. He's box office. I mean, this dude is spectacular. But when we look at the rest of the Brooklyn Nets, we see KD out there moving all fluidly and everything, looking like he can score 40 anytime he wants to. We're paying attention to Dinwiddie and Karis LeVert and these boys and Joe Harris. You got Max talking about, I wouldn't even trade for James Harden for crying out loud, because look at what Sean Marks has put together and the depth that they have. Okay, you take into account all of these things. What's the one question everybody's having about the Brooklyn Nets? Okay, is Kyrie going to be a distraction? Is Kyrie going to make sure that he's laser focused and locked in so he doesn't serve to disrupt whatever they're trying to accomplish? I don't believe he will. I believe in him. And I believe that the Brooklyn